The 2018 Lucas Oil 200 driven by General Tire was the first race of 20 for the 2018 ARCA Series season. Held on February 10, 2018, the race saw 39 cars attempt to win the biggest race on the schedule after 80 laps. Remember, 80 laps. There were some very interesting drivers in the field, including future Cup drivers like Noah Gragson and may stay in the trucks by this point. Quinn Halfin. Oh. This explains the title then. King Riley and Zane Smith, of course. Zane Smith's teammate in the 8 was a future Truck Series driver, Chase Purdy, and future bridesmaid on the field also was Sheldon Creed. He was actually considered one of the favorites in this race. Sean Core, a veteran of the series for about a decade at this point, was running. Brett Holmes was a newer driver to the series, and so was Michael Self and Gus Dean. Gus Dean being in the rookie class in 2017. The famous chassis 005 was in this race for Grant Quinlan's team of Rat Jones Racing. Mark Thompson, a driver who's been racing longer than some of these kids have been alive for, is here. While he runs the 66 in ARCA, he's also going to be running the 66 in the Daytona 500 as well. Finally, this would be the super speedway legend Bobby Gerhardt's final run at Daytona. Fun fact about me, this was my very first ARCA race I watched, and oh boy, it would be one that I remember forever, for both the right and wrong reasons. The pole steer for this race was a pole dance. Oh, yeah. I remember all the hype around this bitch. Aged real well. Anyways, I'm getting off track. She leads the field of 39 to hit the green flag.
They are lined up, ready to go. The first stock car race of 2018 is green. Here we go from Daytona. Smith trying to get the edge on the outside. He's in the black and yellow car on the high side. Decker stays even as they go into turn number 2. Decker just barely nosing in front, but they're still side by side, headed down the backstretch.
A lot of the drivers and crew chiefs told me they thought the outside line was going to be the place to be. They felt like there were faster cars in that outside line.
Zane Smith will lead them going into turn 3. Decker on the bottom side, and Max Tolman on the high side, making his first ever ARCA start.
Now these guys and girls are getting to feel what it's like to run around so many other vehicles here.
Zane Smith will take the lead from the outside on the backstretch with help from Max Tolman. The rest of the field is 2x2. Tolman eventually gets to second though and breaks through. The top 23 have broken away from the rest of the field. On lap 6, the top 4 are now single file as Purdy runs 4th. On lap 7, the outside line implodes as there are only 4 cars on the outside line, 19 cars on the inside line. Noah Gragson and Brett Holmes run in the second pack to avoid potentially getting caught up in any instance. It sometimes worked as well, but in 80 laps, it's definitely going to be somewhat difficult to pull off. Back from commercial break, and we have a 15-car train line that is formed on the inside line. King Riley is overheating, so he drops out of the lead pack. Lap 23, there's trouble in turn 4.
It can really get you sideways.
And a smoker, that's Ronnie Osmer in the 99, a second car for Thomas Prater, and that brings out our first caution. And then we've got more problems in turn number 4. Andy Seiss has gone around in the 02 car.
That's the 52 of Will Rogers right there in front of your screen. The Dryden car, that's the same car that Austin won the championship with last year.
And he was having such a good run. He had moved up about 15 spots. Cody Robaugh in the number 7 Grant County mulch car as well. There's the 99. Osmer we saw first.
Ronnie Osmore loses a zip-tied engine in turns 3 and 4. Then Andy Suss gets in the oil and spins it for Cody Robaugh and Will Rogers, collecting them both. Suss and Rogers will end up the 2 lowest running cars at the finish. Suss finishes 19th, Rogers finishes 30th. Robaugh will finish 38th from the damage to his car, and Osmore will finish in last from the zip-tied engine. Gustines also suffered his entire left front fender getting torn off his car. The entire field pits under the caution. Everyone gets fuel only as Zane Smith and Bobby Gerhardt make contact. Smith will lose the lead as he drops to 9th. Sheldon Creed is now the new leader. King Riley pits before the restart to top off on fuel, as Creed will lead the field back to green.
Creed controls the restart. Tolman on the high side. And we're going again at Daytona. Creed in the white car is going to get the push on the bottom line and try to nose in front.
Let's see if Natalie can pull up there and help that outside line. Looks like Creed may even be out front by too far. Let's see what kind of momentum that out. Look at Tolman in the 78 on the outside.
Around Michael Self back into second position. That's Braden in the 27 as Self inches ahead once again.
Good shot of Quinn Houff right there, the 98 car.
And that's on board with Braden. Here's Noah Gregson.
Creed continues the lead, but with help from Quinn Houff, Max Tolman briefly takes the lead from Creed. Side by side throughout the field before Tolman takes the lead. Back from commercial break, and the top 7 are single file. Then there's nearly a crash as we came back from commercial break, as it's becoming very obvious these cars are very unstable. King Riley makes contact with someone his grandfather's age as well, halfway through the race, as the top 12 are now single file. Then
He's back in 8th, and we've got a smoker and a caution for Grant Quinlan in the 30 car. Is that a tire rub?
Looks like an engine. Looks like an awful lot of smoke there.
Yeah, it's a lot of smoke.
Tough break for that young Canadian. This will give these guys an opportunity to come down pit road if they need it. I think this is going to be enough insurance to get them in their window to keep the track position, stay on the racetrack. But
Grant Quinlan's zip-tied engine lets go on the back stretch. 1 year after it finished runner-up in the previous year before, 005 finishes 37. Leader Tolman, Self, and multiple others pit. Tolman and Self miss their pit stalls and have to go back up. Tolman stalls. Jesse Awuji suffers an engine cooler problem and will finish 36. As the sun begins to go down under the surface, Sheldon Creed will lead the field back to green with 34 laps to go.
Braden on the top side, back up through the gears, and back to green at Daytona with Noah Gregson giving a good push on the bottom side.
a lot of experience there pushing Noah Gregson. He's a young driver, but got so much great experience driving for Kyle Busch Motorsports last year in the Truck Series. Sheldon Creed has a good pusher right now driving for David Gilliland Racing.
Look at the front two jump away, Austin.
They have to be careful. Huge gap behind them.
Get too far ahead, right?
Absolutely, too far ahead, and the guys behind them are going to come up with a run, possibly pass them on the outside.
Sean.
Gregson gives Creed the push of a lifetime as the rest of the field is 2x2, but Purdy tries to go lower, but fails. Then
and a big crash, spinning, turning, the 33 of Daniel Sassnitz. Caution number 3 at Daytona.
Big impact.
Hey, Daniel was running in the 26th position. There's a 22 also, Ed Pompa. Ed was running back in 30th.
Pompa driving for Andy Hillenberg's team with owner's points from Chad Bryant, the former Cunningham team.
There's a second generation ARCA racer, Andrew Belmont.
Dave Mader gets into the back of Daniel Saznat and turns him hard into the outside wall. Ed Pompa loses control, avoiding the wrecked Saznat, and makes major contact with Andrew Belmont. Belmont will continue on to incredibly finish top 10, while Saznat and Pompa will finish 34th and 35th. Both are okay after the crash. Zane Smith pits as it is believed he has a tire going down. Noah Gregson's plan has worked as he is now second, first car on the outside line, as Creed brings the field down for the next restart with 24 laps to go.
Menards in the first stock car race of 2018. Gregson on the bottom side. He's going to let Creed go by. He'll grab the lead as they go through the speedy drive. Watch that top side to see what kind of push Chase Purdy has there in the red car for Sean Corr in the 43.
Remember, a lot of experience Sean Corr has here at this racetrack.
Wow, they're hooked up.
Chase Purdy doing a nice job right on his rear bumper.
And Sean Corr leads at Daytona for Empire Racing. But Purdy looks to have the quickest car right now. He's trying to go around the high side. Creed will give Corr a push. Gregson is still right there. And now Purdy is all by himself, and he'll slide back.
Purdy has some help coming. Looks like maybe
Sean Corr gets a phenomenal restart with an incredible push from Chase Purdy. Purdy unbelievably almost completed the pass on the outside by himself to take the lead himself, but dropped back just a bit.
This Scott Rookie Challenge, and there's damage that was last year for Natalie Decker. Big time damage on the left front, and we've got debris that is going to cause a caution. What happened to Natalie Decker, the pole sitter?
A checkup on the restart would cause her damage and would ultimately lead her to be out of contention pretty much for the rest of the race. The outside line tries to get some momentum built to get toward the front. The first 5 cars are now single file on the inside line as Core continues to lead. Gustine has done a phenomenal job this race despite all the damage to his car.
Seems like the odds of a caution are fairly strong.
Whoa. Right there.
Whoa, Gustine trying to hang on to it.
That's going to split this pack up a little bit. You see Riley Herbst going by on the inside. Quinn Houff now on the outside. That's Ferrier in the 46 car. That may cost this group the draft.
They've got some work to do to catch up to the lead pack.
Well, there we go.
Huge wreck.
Core, Houff, Lamastus, and Doza all involved. Semi-big one here at Daytona. Caution number 4.
The 98 of Houff just didn't give him enough room.
Guys, we saw that coming from miles away.
Yeah, 3/4 of a lap before that anyway. It's going to be a break for Natalie Decker, but what a tough break for Brian Doza. He was doing
A wild sequence of events occur as Gustine pulls off an incredible save, but this causes that part of the pack to stack up, and Dean makes contact with Houff. And Quinn Houff spins and collects Bo Lamastus, Dazat, and John Ferrier. Ferrier will finish 15th. Dazat and Lamastus and Houff will finish 31st to 33rd. After the cleanup, we have now just 9 laps to go for the restart as Core will lead the field back to green.
Here in the red Bama Buggies car. Back to green at Daytona. Creed on the top side. Core on the bottom side. Gregson trying to push Core along. But Braden is giving a good bump as well to Creed up top.
both those guys in the second row did an amazing job on this restart.
And they stay hooked up. Head into the backstretch.
Top lane with an advantage off too.
A little bit of energy there on the outside.
And that's Braden doing the work. And Core will duck in line right there. So it's Creed, Core, Gregson, Braden, Holmes, Thompson, and Purdy. And Thompson's the only one on the top side right now.
Creed will take the lead from Core after a great push from Travis Braden. Mark Thompson is the only one out on the outside line in the top 5. Caution comes out with 8 laps to go as Tony Marakovich makes contact with Michael Self, as it looks like he had something break on his car as he turned straight up and is now stopped on the apron. He is officially listed with a zip-tied engine issue. Marakovich will finish 29. Sheldon Creed will lead Sean Core, Gregson, and the rest of the field with 4 laps to go on the restart to green.
Braden won his very first race, trying for number 2. He restarts in 4th. Gregson giving the push to Creed on the bottom side. Can Braden help push Core to the front? Chase Purdy making it a 3-car push on the outside.
Great start on the outside by your guys, Austin. But look at that inside line. Look at the inside line go.
Nosing in front, it's Sheldon Creed leading again at Daytona.
Braden jumps to the inside and leaves Sean Core. Now Sean's going to try to side draft to kill the momentum on the inside.
Braden is fast, and now he's on the bottom side, chasing Gregson.
Creed gets a strong restart with Gregson's push as Braden leaves Core as they are now side by side for 3rd. Lillian Munter loses it on the back stretch as she gets into the grass. Now it's 3x3x3 from 5th on back as Gustine is now 5th with all that damage as Core now has help from Purdy while Creed has Gregson and Braden behind him coming to the white flag.
Creed with Noah Gregson on his bumper. 2.5 miles to go in the season opener at Daytona. And we're back to a dozen right there in a pack. Creed into turn number 2. Gregson a car length behind. Another car length back to Braden. Here comes Core again in that blue 43 on the top side with a good push from Purdy. And they're wrecking. Holmes is going around and upside down. Zane Smith around. A big one here in Daytona, but keep in mind, This is not the finish of this race. We will see a one-lap shootout to determine this one. So another restart coming. And that's Holmes on his side. Thompson also comes to a stop, and multiple cars involved here on the final lap at Daytona.
And there it is, the moment the race lost full control. A bump from Gus Dean sends Brett Holmes into Zane Smith and Mark Thompson. While Holmes gets airborne and on his side, sliding for several hundred feet, Smith also gets airborne after contact with a 63 of Mater. Holmes unbelievably never got upside down as he slid the whole back straightaway on his side. Luckily, everyone was okay. Despite the wreck happening on the white flag lap, as you heard Kevin Lee, the race was not over. ARCA rules stated that the checker flag had to be taken under green regardless of how many overtime attempts there were. The red flag is thrown so a long cleanup can be done. The 5 involved will finish from 24th to 28th, the biggest names being Zane Smith and Gus Dean. After the cleanup, the red flag is lifted and the caution is thrown back out. Noah Gragson pits in the caution for fuel. Sheldon Creed and Sean Corr will lead the field back to green flag for the overtime restart.
Get it done. Pace car is off. Creed controls the restart. He's got his teammate Chase Purdy pushing him on the bottom. Here we go with 1 to go at Daytona. And Creed has the early jump, but Corr is trying to come around the outside with Braden giving him a shove.
Good pushes from the second row for both these guys. Look at them push.
Self is still there, back in 5th position. The front 2 rows, side by side, nose to tail, bumper to bumper. Corr in front, wiggles a bit. Corr in the backstretch. Coming right back is Sheldon Creed. They're still side by side going into 3.
Let's see who gets the advantage going in 3.
Creed on the bottom side.
Big
Purdy is going around, hard into the wall. Corr goes with him. Caution. And we'll try again.
Michael Self, Willie Mullins are the first 2 cars to get through there.
Riley Herbst also involved.
A lot of cars involved in that incident.
Just like my asshole, shit's popping off. Some prime ARCA bullshit right here. Chase Purdy gets into Sean Corr, takes himself, Corr, and Braden hard into the outside wall, while Creed spins from the contact, but is able to keep it going. ARCA braking occurs as King Riley, Prater, Brad Smith, Jerry DeWert, all of ARCA break the hell out of the 4 leaders. Yo 6 of hair nearly humps a 19-year-old. Let's move away from this incident for a minute before we get banned. Michael Self and Willie Mullins avoid the wreck, and Noah Gragson, who pitted on the previous caution, is now 3rd. Psych! ARCA officiate moment. He gets sent to the back because ARCA. The red flag is thrown again, also to clean up more debris from the big one. Corr, Purdy, Braden, and Brad Smith all finished 20th to 23rd. 3 of those 4 of them were major contenders to win this race. After another lengthy cleanup, the red flag is lifted, and we get ready for green. But John Ferrier runs out of fuel, but gets off the racetrack enough that the officials say, fuck it, he'll be fine. Michael Self leads the field back to green for what will be the final restart of the race.
To decide the season opener from Daytona in ARCA, and it's a great jump from Michael Self back to the front.
Let's see if Tom Hessert can clear Willie Mullins now. Here comes Natalie Decker. She's pulling up in the back bumper of Willie Mullins. Outside line has a little bit of energy now. There's Tolman in the 78. He's now trying to decide whether he's going inside or outside.
And we know Max Tolman is fast. He was fast early.
25 is going to line up behind Hessert here.
And Self is all by himself. He has no help going down the backstretch. Half a lap to go. Does Michael Self have a big enough cushion? Mullins and Hessert for second, with Decker trying to push Hessert to see if they can catch Michael Self as they head to turn number 4. Michael Self has a cushion. Headed down through the tri-oval. Michael Self is going to win at Daytona. Win number 2, and it's at the biggest stock car race in the ARCA series.
Look at the excitement.
Michael Self wins his 2nd career ARCA race almost unchallenged in the final restart. Sheldon Creed incredibly works himself up from 11th to 3rd in 1 lap, as Gragson also works himself from 13th to 7th, also in 1 lap. Willie Mullins finishes runner-up. And yeah, that was a race. You want to know some shit? It took over an hour and a half to run the final lap. Let that shit sink in for a moment. Over 1/3 of the race broadcast time was spent on the final lap. Considering ARCA was already in a bad financial state, this race didn't help the series out at all. This race is basically the race that fully killed the ARCA series. This race caused a very valued Midwestern stock car series to be looked up upon fully as a complete joke now. In April of 2018, the owners had sold the series to NASCAR, as there was a chance at season's end they could have gone bankrupt. It's not surprising why it would have happened after this race. After 2018, the overtime rules were changed for it to be one attempt at a one-lap shootout, as this problem would happen again at the Talladega race, as there were multiple attempts that would happen. So that's going to be it for this video, and I hope you guys enjoy this video as well. Is there any other races you want me to cover, other interesting motorsports races? Let me know in the comments below. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next video.